when I started doing the new U, and that took care of it. But how, and they're probably doing it to everybody.
Yeah, they don't see it on that level. Yes, this is where people are controlled subliminally. I knew one little gal here. She told me an experience. She was into black magic and all these things, and tied to the reptilians and that for lifetimes. In this lifetime, she struggled through a lot of her tap line, and it finally came to this. She was in the corporation too. She was actually in Iran, and she was a sweetie. And since then, she's gone on her own way. But she woke up one morning, still kind of in and out of her body, and there was a reptilian with a computer hooked up to her, and simply telling her that I'm programming you is what I'm doing, and this is what's not seen. See, at the seminars especially, see that gathering, that's a great opportunity for Joni. I'm sure those were some of Joni's witches. It's a great opportunity for everybody has a reptilian on them. Everybody has their own reptilian, but they don't see it. It's very, very subtle because, see, they're so self-convinced about their situation, they don't see it. And, you know, it's like talking to someone in the White House that works there, and it's like, oh my gosh, I work in the White House, and this is just terrific. I'm with the president. And no matter what the president does, or the military, and just goes over and destroys other countries, etc., they don't see it. It's like, oh, this is great. I work in the White House. That's all they see. Yeah, that's all they see. So again, it's learning to be objective and standing back. And so again, we all go through experiences here, and it's all fine. But again, when you become so self-convinced, and this is how the membership is. And see, Joni has taken everybody a step at a time. She's worked very hard at this, just like the U.S. government and all the governments of the world. They work very hard. 24 hours a day, they do marketing ploy. That's all they do. They make it look like it's a benefit for everybody, but it's totally marketing ploy to keep people deceived. Yeah. Well, see, those experiences are cool. Write those down. We share them on Facebook. We make little movies, and yeah, again, the adventures of Bob. You know, with the Empire. That's a good one too. You know, so again. Yeah, you guys are on. So you're gonna have a lot to tell.
I have a question, and I just finished book number 3.
We did 9 too.
Yeah, I read 9 yesterday and this morning, but I finished reading all of book 3, which took me about a week to read it. And you often referred to 2 heavens. You know, the earth and the 2 heavens, and I was wondering if by the 2 heavens, you mean the astral is one heaven and the mental is the other heaven? You always referred to the 2 heavens of creation.
Yeah, the reason I started that is that many years ago is that, see, you know, most people think in terms of heaven and earth. It's like, okay, if you're a believer, if you're religious, you go to your heaven. And so I started the idea of the 2 heavens of man. And I had people question me, and it's like, wow, I never thought about that before. What does that mean? Of course, when I started to explain that to them, it scared them. But yes, it's basically the la-la land sensations of the astral worlds. And then you have the more hardcore, which is the mental worlds, which is more of the causal, mental, and parts of the etheric, which are the subconscious part, because the upper part of the etheric is your intuition. And so, again, it just depends upon where you are in these regions, but you have these 5 bodies there. But yes, I created that idea just as a fun adventure, you know, just like Paul talked about in the Talents of Time, the 2-headed God. Well, once I took the Rod of Power in 2001, the first thing the boys showed me was we were sitting at picnic tables like in a high school gym, and there she was the influence, and just smiling at me. And so that's where the 3-headed God came in, and this is what people don't see. Here in creation, everything is black and white, up and down, left and right, good and bad. They don't see the influence that they agree to and really maneuvers and controls things. And then in book 4, The Adventures of Reba Zartars, it's a vast extension of the talents of time. It's my experience too, going through with this with Rebazar and all these things, and then discovering the supreme deceptor that overrules all that. Even the Kalam God doesn't know about that in the etheric, hidden in the etheric realm. So yeah, there's a lot to wake up to and realize. And again, most people are thinking in terms of mono, heaven and earth. Okay, this back and forth thing, and this is where they have been controlled to think that. And the heaven that people are going to, again, it's already designed. It's a designed heaven. It's a designated heaven for them. It's like, okay, when you die, when you pass over, you're going to go here, and people are again marketed into thinking that, oh, everything will be fine. I'll be there forever and it'll be wonderful. No, you're just going to go there for a while, and you're going to forget where you're at, and you're going to come back here and be their slave again. And future lifetimes now, you're going to be more robotized. This is what they're setting up, is that everybody's more robotized because they want to make sure everybody's under their control. Absolutely. So it's all in living color right now. Yes, go ahead, Bob.
Does the Deceptor, the Supreme Deceptor, have a name other than that?
That's just what I call him, because he's on the etheric level, and even the reptilians don't know about him because they, like the elites here and the monarchy, that are, the Queen and all these people and the Pope and all these things, the monarchy of this world, they relate to the demons and the reptilians and the demons. They converse with them all the time, and they're shapeshifters. And so this is human farming. This is a human farming planet. But no, they don't know. They know little about even the influence. Now, the Kalam God, this is like its mate, the influence. But it's a little tricky situation. Even the Kalam God doesn't know about the Supreme Deceptor so much. So he works with the influence, and he's really a knucklehead himself. He's just a conqueror. There are no gods. These are just conquerors, and this is where the son Inky is one of many that came to this planet, many others, and set himself up as gods. This is what you see on the pyramids and all that. Those are the ancient astronauts that people are confused about, but it's really the reptilians. And they created the God idea and all these things, and religions and slaves and humanoids. They created all this. They created the Bible and the stories, the Adam and Eve thing. And, again, they created all this marketing ploy to have people as slaves. They created humanoids at first, and then they drug in unaware little souls from the astral world and popped them in these bodies. So they do a lot of manipulation. And so, again, there's a lot to creation to wake up to and become aware of, and this is where, Paul was hinting at a few of these things, but as Darwin and Harold came along, they were taken over by the influence, and so Joni was there in the background. You want to make sure that people don't see these things, that they're continually influenced. So eventually she got into the priest thing and the worship and prayer and whatever. So she's got everybody dumbed down totally with their noses to the ground. And they're accepting it. They're agreeing to it. And they're part of the demise that's destroying this world and imploding creation. So again, this is where we come in and provide something real, but people got to pay attention and be the real risk taker, you see?
Another question is, everything we do is, and every situation we're in is by agreement. And my question is, how did we agree to, I was talking to Sandy about this yesterday. I said, how in the world did we ever agree to come into these lower worlds knowing it was going to be so horrible? Is that an agreement, or were we just stuck here and had to start out as a rock and work our way up?
No, the real you, your real awareness is so awesome. You've just been bred and brought up and conditioned with the idea that, oh, you have a soul or your soul. Okay, that's cute. All right, that's about it. Okay, you're like a gumdrop. Okay, and a mental idea, like a little gumdrop or a Tootsie Roll. Okay, so, but your real awareness is awesome. It's more than you can even consider. But it's like this. It's just like we are here. It's hard for us to see ourselves as others see us, you see? And so when you're in that isness, for you to see yourself and recognize what's taking place, well, this is why you wanted to come into creation, so that you could go through this agitation to eventually recognize what is not real, to eventually compare and recognize what is real.
So we volunteered to come here for the learning experience.
That's
then, right?
why you're here.
That was
That's why you're
that's
here.
it. And what level did we start at?
No one dropped you in. The stork idea, I would check that out. I don't think that's true. Okay?
Did we start as human beings?
No, you go through the various whatever. Everybody's I can't pinpoint it, but everybody goes through different positions. They're just simply body types. You were a bird at one time, you flew, you were a turtle, you crawled, you were a fish. You went through all these things to experiment with everything that is possible, you see, in creation, until you came to, you kind of brought it together to where, just like in school, you go through the grades. You don't start off at the 12th grade. You start off kindergarten, and you do finger painting, and you make a big mess for everybody, you see? You make a big mess, and so things get funny, but as you graduate, you start to focus a little bit. That's the idea, but not everybody does. And then eventually you go on. So again, you're seeing here objectively, kind of in a funny way of the process that you're going through too. So again, but eventually, so just like in Paul's state when he decided certain things, because that was the first step is all. Now we're into recognizing the isness. That becomes more so. But the body types, yes, the only reason you're here is because it's so funny when you think about it. People think, okay, well, how did I get here? Well, you're here. You decided to come here. You decided all this, but that's scary to people because, again, most people can't be objective about themselves. And besides, they don't have the knowledge or experience because each lifetime goes so fast that maybe just when you're getting it, it's like Paul talked about the far country idea and Kipling's story where the soldier on the battlefield, just when he's about to pass over, he sees the far country. So again, you get a little glimpse and zoom, it's gone. And this is what it is each lifetime. You get these little glimpses of things, but then you don't remember or how to relate to them. So this is where the knowledge, the real knowledge has to come in as a reference so that you're able to do it. Just like, the manual for your computer. Yeah, you can have the computer and be all excited, but hey, if you don't know how to do it, if you don't have some instructions, you're just going to sit there and look at it. And so again, this is what we do for lifetimes. We just kind of look around because until we figure things out, but then again, many people come across this, and I understand, but at the same time, it takes a lot because of our upbringing, however we've been brought up each lifetime, and that's at random. That can be anything. There's so many variables and ideas and beliefs and all these things. It's like, I don't believe that. No, I don't like that, etc. And so, you have a lot to deal with yourself to where you can start to see something. So this is where the real knowledge has to come into play. And I'm assuming that, yes, you were 50 years in Eck. I was back there too in 1970 with Paul, and so was Claudia here, and some others. And yes, what Paul wrote was wonderful. But when you compare it to what's taking place now, you see that doesn't work anymore. You see, that was for that time. Because just like when we were young with our parents, that was for that time. Now we're big. It doesn't work anymore. Yeah, we're not going to be tucked in by our parents every night. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Margie has a question.
Go ahead.
Okay. Who had the Rada power before 2001?
Rebazar Tars.
Okay.
Rebazar Tars held that for me. I was the child that Paul talked about. And if you read book 9, this is very well explained. There's a lot more to it. But there was a meeting with Patty Simpson, Helen Beard. They had set it up it was called the Edgewater Inn at the time, and then they changed it. It's down here in Seal Beach, and there's about 50 as that were invited. I was one and others, and Paul and Gail came there, and things went on. And Darwin was to kind of manage things because he was more into the business world. I wasn't. I was just a young surfer, you know, and I had my construction. I was doing construction, and so we were supposed to get together and do this, etc. But he decided to go on his own. He decided to contact the board of directors, go around everybody, get the money to buy the copyrights to create his position. And a lot went on behind the scenes that people don't see. Just like when the president's out there and giving his pretty speech, you don't see what's going on behind the scenes, do you? No. Because again, there's always a lot more. Yeah, go ahead.
I knew what was going on. And then Harold asked to take over the business because Darwin was putting money in.
Darwin was getting caught. I was on the building committee in Sedona, and Helen Fry, who owned the Wings of the Wind out there, we went out there. There was Larry Gear, Jack Fallows, and some other people. We were picked. Darwin was still playing the role. He was trying to schmooze me in his own way, but whatever. It didn't matter. But and then when we were out there, Helen said to my wife, "I want to come back as your child." That's my daughter, Lindsay. But Lindsay's totally into her own thing. So again, each lifetime's a little different. But yeah, there's a lot going. Go ahead, tell your part. Go ahead.
Well, I just know that because of the way he was managing things, Harold wanted to take over Eckankar because of the way Darwin was doing things and the way he was misrepresenting, I think, the money and stuff like that. Well, I've been in Arizona. I've met Helen Baird just for a little bit. I've been in Eckankar for 45 years. So, and then when I was one place, I think it was at Maryville, it was really cold. I didn't even notice, but another Eckas said to me that Ravizar, thought she saw Ravizar at the door passing out programs at one of the seminars.
That's Pat Henderson.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then, is there such a thing as God? Energy, an entity is God?
No. These are just these are ideas that have been used.
Because I know you said there is no such things as gods, you know.
No,
so
no. There's
wondering if there was one thing as a god.
No, the God idea really refers to the conquerors in creation. That's the Kalam and whatever. These are people that make themselves gods or whatever. You know, just like Zeus and Aphrodite and all these the old gods, etc., etc. And what you have, like in the movie Stargate, is Ra. You know, that's what's in the pyramids, and that the Ra, the Ra god. That's a reptilian. And so you have all these stories, but the isness is exceptional, and that is really what Paul experienced. But he used the God idea at the time because realistically, at first, as you look at the tiger's fang, when Paul came back and he sat there and said, "I still haven't found myself." Well, see, he had the experience. People can have the experience in the real universes. But that experience is not the recognition. He did not recognize right away what he had experienced. And so, yes, as I came into this, and especially in 2001, I had recognized the is. And this is what I was to show. This is where I started in 2001 with the people that I know. It was the is. And then in 2007 became the new wave. The all is. This is what I was shown, and I was shown the new you. I was shown the new, actually, and I was to decide if this is to be it, and I said yes, and then I added the you because the you represents the isness. It's the new you because it's always new. And so the God idea, because just like what Joni has done with the corporation, the business, it's all just one-dimensional business. That's all she's interested in. because she has misused everything, and the world is so tap-blind, the hue and everything else, it had its place, but it was not the reality. It was not to the true reality. It got people so far, but it's become all infected now. It's totally infected. The hue calls on the reptilians. And so does the and the Amen and all these so-called holy things are all nonsense. The Pope and all this stuff. They're all reptilian. They control the world. So it's a big adventure in creation, and we've all been part of this, and it's all okay. It's simply to where you learn to recognize what's going on, and you learn to make better choices, but you got to be the risk taker to see it. But if you want to stay convinced by old ideas, so be it. Again, this is the babysitters. Now, there was a lot of these people that, and they have their positions too. They're higher initiates, they're Reeses, whatever. I was, in 1990, I was seventh initiator. But after that, Rebazar gave me all the initiations on the real side. They were real up to the 14th circle. And now I'm beyond that, beyond the 22nd and whatever, way beyond that. And the thing is because of the isness. And these things were brought up, but all the initiations became a fallacy because, see, Darwin started to get caught and Joni became upset. There's a lot more to this. It's really kind of fun. Well, so she picked someone that she could really control because she couldn't totally control Darwin. And Darwin actually came to me when I was in Mexico on a surf trip that I'd driven to Cabo. My brother and I, in January 2005, he came to me one night and he was crawling and he was all in his blue suit and he wanted my help. And I said, well, I tried to help you, Darwin, but you wouldn't listen. And then he crawled off into another room and just zipped off. And Darwin's all about Darwin. And this is where I came up with the idea, the days of masters and gurus is gone. I never wanted the membership or this master idea. I was shown I was the new man. And so I went with that. And so I make this fun. And the thing is that it's all a lot better and more fun than most people realize. But yeah, there's a lot went on. And then as Harold came in, of course, Joni took over. We would see her on the real side. When I took the real position, the class that I had taught for 20 years, they were having all kinds of real side experiences. And all the other groups in Orange County thought we were doing psychic things and weird stuff, but they weren't paying attention. And we were just going to the real side. And it was more than obvious that Joni was always carrying a dog leash. Harry was the dog. He was infatuated with her. That's where Marjorie went to the side. She was just pushed aside because Joni was to have her way, and then she totally took over and brought in the priest and the worshiping stuff, etc., because she's working hand in hand with the Kalam God and the reptilians.
Okay.
Yeah. Quite an adventure, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and you're in it, and you get to be part of it. So, yeah, lucky you.